If your partner's delivery ain't great, almost all of us will react to the poor delivery. That's exaggerated, that's unkind, that's whatever. No, duck under their poor delivery, like ducking under a wave, and try and pay attention to what they're trying to tell you and what they want. How do you do that? First, listen. Deal with your partner's distress, and then maybe we can talk about you, but enter with compassionate curiosity my partner's subjective experience. I'm sorry, honey, that sounds terrible. Tell me what that was like for you. No matter how perfect your relationship is, all relationships are an endless dance of harmony, disharmony, and repair. Closeness, disruption, and a return to closeness. I crib this from the great infant observational researcher Ed Tronick. Ed, along with Barry Breslin, was one of the first of a generation to not imagine what the relationship between a parent and infant was based on listening to adults in psychotherapy. They actually took a video camera and plunked it in front of mothers and infants and then fathers and infants and looked at what was going on. And what they recorded was a sort of endless rhythm of closeness, disruption, and a return to closeness. The infant is what we call molded in mom's, no bones. And then there's gas or hunger or a noise. Infant freaks out. Mother tries to soothe. Doesn't work. Mother freaks out. They're both freaked out. And then back to harmony, repair. Harmony, disharmony, repair. The problem is that we don't know the skills of repair in this culture. We're not taught how to repair. In fact, we are not taught that the rhythm of harmony, disharmony, and repair is even normal. A great relationship is all harmony, just like a great body is an 18-year-old's body, and a great sex life is the sex you had in the first month of your relationship, and it's all this idealized, bullshit. Harmony, disharmony, and repair. Also, what makes things dicey is that when you're in the disharmony phase, we tend to get trauma triggered. We pick partners who will wound us in the same ways we were wounded as kids, and then we lose our thinking brain, prefrontal cortex, wise adult. We move into automatic subcortical survival, fight, flight, or fix. We call this the adaptive child. So if you're going to use the skills of repair, the very first skill is getting back out of your automatic subcortical brain into your thoughtful choosing brain. I can stop, I can think, I can choose to use skills. We have a saying in relational life therapy, other therapies teach you skills, we deal with the part of you that won't use them. So the first step in repair is between your ears. It's spiritual. It's what we call remembering love. Remembering that the person you're speaking to is someone you care about, not 8-foot, 4-armed, fire-breathing enemy. Oh yeah, this is Belinda. This is my wife. And remember that the reason why I'm speaking is to make things better. And we talk about 5 losing strategies of the adaptive child part of us, that's subcortical, fight, flight, or fix. Proving you're right, controlling your partner, unbridled self-expression, retaliation, and withdrawal. A lot of us are really motivated by one of those agendas when we turn to our partner in the heat of the moment, and they won't work. That's why we call them losing strategies. They will never get you more of what you want. But that's what that instinctive, what you learned as a kid part of you wants to do. Whoosh, comes up from the feet like a wave. I've got to stand up for myself or the world will end. I've got to shut this down. This is overwhelming. I've got to fix this. I can't stand that you're unhappy. So the first order of business is breathe. Take a walk around the block. Get centered in the part of you that wants to make repair to begin with. With luck, your disgruntled partner has used their skills, used the feedback wheel. That's a different video, how to speak when you're in a state of disrepair. But today we're going to be talking about how to listen and respond, no matter how well or poorly your partner speaks. You know, it's very easy to use mature skills when your partner is using their set of mature skills. It's a lot harder to use mature skills when your partner's coming at you with immature, unskilled energy, but you can still do it. So one of the first things I want to teach you is if your partner's delivery ain't great, almost all of us will react to the poor delivery. That's exaggerated, that's unkind, that's whatever. No. Duck under their poor delivery, like ducking under a wave, and try and pay attention to what they're trying to tell you and what they want. That's called listening. So if you want peace, get centered in the part of you that remembers that you want peace. How do you do that? First, listen. This is what I hear you saying. And if all else fails, you can just repeat the feedback wheel if they used it. Belinda to Terry, you said you'd be home at 7. You got home about 7:45. You didn't text, you didn't call. The kids and I were waiting dinner for you. It was a mess. What I made up is that you can be selfish sometimes and lose track of time and just don't care. How I felt about that, hurt, helpless, lonely, and angry. What I'd like is for you to apologize to me, to the kids, and let me know what you're going to do to stop this pattern. That's the feedback wheel. How do I listen? Okay, Belinda, this is what I hear you say, and I just repeat what you said. I was late. You told yourself a story that I could be self-preoccupied and forget about you and the kids. You felt lonely and helpless and sad and angry, and you'd like me to set it to rights in these ways. Did I get that right? This is what I hear you say. Did I get that right? Listening is a gift, and it's also an act of discipline. You put yourself aside, you put so-called reality aside, and as an act of generosity and enlightened self-interest, you enter into your partner's experience. You are at the customer service window. We don't care about you. When somebody comes to you at the customer service window and says, my microwave doesn't work, they don't want you to say, well, my toaster doesn't work. They want you to fix their microwave. Deal with your partner's distress, and then maybe we can talk about you. But when we're faced with an unhappy partner, I must say this 3 times a week in my clinical work. When we're faced with an unhappy partner, we immediately go to 2 reference points. 1, accuracy. That's right, that's not right, that's true, that's not true. And 2, ourselves. I can't believe what a pain in the ass this is. I have to listen to this again. Lose those 2, accuracy and me, and enter with compassionate curiosity my partner's subjective experience. I'm sorry, honey, that sounds terrible. Tell me what that was like for you. Or in this case, this is what I hear you say. Did I get it right? Good. Listen. And then respond. And there are 2 parts to respond. Acknowledge what you can and give what you can. Yes, I was late. It's not the first time either. Out yourself. I can be late. You're right. I can be selfish and lose track of time and stop thinking about the impact on you and the kids. That's not a part of me I'm proud of. I'm going to go to work on that. Thank you. Not yes, but. Not I did it, but you have to understand. Not I did it, but you just land on it. I did it. You're right. If you really want an A, it's not the first time either. I can behave like that. Acknowledge what you can. It's reassuring to your partner. If your partner feels like you get it, that's the language everybody always uses, that my partner just doesn't get it. If they feel like you get it, there's a snowball chance in hell you'll do better next time. If you get defensive and they don't feel like you've heard what they're saying, then they get hopeless and then they go after you. So make peace. Honey, you're right. I did it. A. B. You've asked for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to give you 3 and 5. I'm going to give you 3 and 5. Don't lead with what you're not going to give them. Lead with what you are going to give them and sell it. Do it with some oomph, I'm going to give you 3 and 5. And you think they're going to say, well, what about 1, 2, and 4? And you'd be kind of surprised. If you're really emphatic about what you are going to give them, I'll tell you, you may be shockingly, pleasantly surprised that, well, okay, I'll take that. You expect them to say, well, what about 1, 2? But a lot of times, if you do a good job saying, you're absolutely right, I did this, I'm giving you that, let's make peace, you'll get, not always, but more than you've been doing, peace. How to make repair. Listen, this is what I hear you say. Did I get it right? Acknowledge, yes, I did exactly what you said I did, and it ain't the first time I did it either. I'm working on it. And give. You asked for this and this. I'm going to give you this and do a great job at it. I really will do my best. Is it foolproof? No. Is it better than what you've been doing? I think so. Give it a shot. Make the experiment and let us know how you do. Best of luck.